Hey, how's it going, everyone? Just back in with another sequence video. So just listening to one of ETT's lessons, and he brought out John 16:33, and then I just pulled up John 16, the whole chapter, and then, I found the sequence here. And so this is basically what I do. And at this point, the sequence is amazing, that it's everywhere, and the entire Bible is a loop of it. But I find the numerology incredible because it's just my way of reaffirming to people that the Bible is true. And there's a lot of different ways that you can prove that the Bible is true. Obviously, most importantly, what's going on in reality. But, even like historical findings of Sodom and Gomorrah, I noticed he posted a video on that. And there's a lot of different ways, to come at it. This is just, I would say, a cherry on top. But for me, the structure of the book is clearly not random, and then we see numerology in the world, out in the world. We have eyes to see at 33 and 666 and a lot of different numbers. So we would expect to see that same structure, within the Bible, because the God of it states that he's behind it, and then these are clues and then patterns, and really consistent numbering of things to let us know that God's behind it, and there's markers, and it's amazing, every time I see it. So I find the numerology a little bit more interesting at this point because I've already produced the sequence like hundreds of times, and then if I were to go through the Bible again and again and again, I would just keep finding more and more instances of it. And so anytime anybody reads anything, I'm just, my eyes and ears perk up for the sequence. And because it's everywhere. And so John 16 is not surprising, that it's here as well. And then this has the elect being sealed as well. So John 16 verse 4, but these things I have told you, that when the time shall come, you may remember that I told you of them. So this also points to reincarnation. And that's in verse 4. Okay, 4:14, 144 oftentimes signify God talking to his elect. But these things I have told you, so they were with him, ye men of Galilee, they saw Christ ascend, that when the time shall come, ye may remember that I have told you of them. So it will come into remembrance. Okay, and then this is in the last days. So that's, a reference to the elect remembering, in the last days. John 16:16, a little while and ye shall not see me, and again a little while and ye shall see me, because I go to the Father. Okay, and that's in John 16:16. Okay, 6:6. A little while you shall not see me, and again a little while and you shall see me. So this is when Christ returns, Revelation 1:7. And then it's also in 7:7, if you add the 1 and the 6. John 16:16, you get 7:7, 14. That's who is going to ultimately, see Christ when he returns and then be saved. And then in verse 17, then some of his disciples said among themselves. Okay. So it references the disciples, God's elect. And then talking about in verse 16 that, in a while you'll see me again. Okay. And this is Christ's second coming. This is what's foreshadowing Christ's second coming. Verse 21, a woman, when she is in travail, has sorrow because her hour has come. This is the hour of temptation that group is exempt from. Okay. But as soon as she has delivered to the child, she remembereth no more the anguish for joy that a man is born into the world. And so this is again coded language for in the last days, Christ's second coming. And the hour has come. Read Revelation 3. God's elect are exempt from the hour of temptation. That's the Church of Philadelphia. Verse 26, and that day ye shall ask in my name, and I say unto you that I will pray to the Father for you. That's in verse 26. And then John 16:26, 2:6, 6:6. And so we're asking the Father, because the elect deal with the Father, for Christ to return, for salvation. That's what we're asking. Okay. And in that day you shall ask in my name, and I say unto you that I will pray to the Father for you. Okay, so Christ is petitioning the Most High to return. He's anxious to return as well, and to gather his elect and to destroy, God's entire left-hand side. He's anxious for that. Verse 27, for the Father himself loveth you, because he hath loved me, and have believed that I come out from God. That's in verse 27:14. 2 times 7 is 14. That's referencing God's elect. Okay. For the Father hath loved you because ye have loved me. And so this is the group that when Christ was on the scene, they accepted him as coming from God. Okay. And then when they accept him, then they accept the Father. And then it's the Father loves that group. Okay. And they're predetermined from the beginning. But, you know, this is their experience, you know, on earth. That's what they've done, you know, is loved Christ, you know, and all aspects of him. Verse 28, I came forth from the Father and I'm come into the world again. I leave the world and go to the Father. And so this again, all coded references to Christ's second coming. And that's in verse 28:16. Okay. John 6:6. I have come from the Father and come into the world again. Okay. So when the Most High visits the world that he's made, he's visiting it through his Son. Okay. And so we have verse referencing the elect remembering, you know, what Christ said in the last days, and then being sealed ultimately. And then many references to Christ's second coming. Okay, in this time of the 666 system, which is what we live in now. Then, now we have a time of the gospel being preached worldwide. His disciples said unto him, Lo, now speakest thou plainly and speakest no proverb. So Revelation 14:6 says the gospel is going to be preached worldwide, okay, by angels, and it's going to be plain as day. You just worship God, don't worship the creation, worship the Creator. And that's in verse 29:18. His disciples said unto him, Now that speakest thou plainly and speak no proverb. Okay, so it's going to be in the sky, and it's going to transcend language. It's going to be to all nations, kindreds and tongues, and so it's going to be plain, obvious, okay, and it's in the sky. Verse 30, Now are we sure that thou knowest all things and needest not any man should ask thee? By this we believe that thou comest forth from God. So that's the purpose of that gospel being preached in the last days, is that people know that those entities, those angels, and Christ himself have come from the Most High, okay, and then that's God, okay. And then there's consequences for not accepting that. And it's permanent, you know, in the last days. So 29 and 30 is a coded reference for the gospel being preached plainly in the last days. Now we have a reference to Christ returning with his elect. Behold, the hour cometh, yea, is now come, that ye shall be scattered every man to his own, and shall leave me alone, and yet I am not alone, because the Father is with me. So in the last days, this is when Christ returns with his elect for this 30-day period of God's wrath. They're literally going to be across the entire earth, but destroying from the sky, okay? And then this is going to happen. Verse 33, These things I have spoken unto you, that in me ye might have peace. In the world ye shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. And so this is the translation in kingdoms. That's talked about in Revelation 11, okay? Where now Christ is performing the final wrath of God, okay? And that's in verse 33. This is the righteous rulership. Okay, that's now taking over. And then if you also understand numerology, this is John 1:6:33, which also is 6. So John 6:6. This is everybody has the mark of the beast. Okay, and so he has overcome the world, and so he's destroying everybody on his left-hand side. And then, you know, this is the translation in kingdoms, like I said. And so John 16 reaffirms the sequence perfectly. Hope everyone's doing well. Bye.